IVM.
Hey guys, even though Elon Musk is trying to turn everyone into robots, you'll be happy to know that very real human beings work at IVM Podcast, and some of them are even cool. How do I know? Well, listen to their own podcast, IVM Likes, where they recommend what they are listening to, watching, or reading. Catch IVM Likes every Monday on iTunes, Stitcher, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. And may I recommend the IVM Podcasts app.
Hello and welcome to the Geek Fruit Bulletin, where we discuss the pressing matters of the day and also the not pressing matters of the day. You might even say the depressing matters of the day. A lot of the time the stuff we discuss does end up being depressing. My name is Dinkar, and with me I have my best friend Jishnu Guha.
Hello.
How are you doing, Jishnu Guha?
I'm okay.
Alright. Yeah. I have, we're going to discuss a matter which is, I suppose at the point this comes out, really old news, but there's no way I could let you not talk about this, which is James Gunn being rehired as director of Guardians of the Galaxy.
2019 is my year. 2019 is the best year.
Are you an odd years guy? I feel like I'm an even years kind of guy.
You're pretty even, Steven.
I'm even Steven.
Yeah.
You're an odd Todd? I don't know any other odd rhyming names. Anyway, tell us, I was there. I distinctly remember being, I mean, it was a couple of days ago, but I was there when you found out.
I was like 6 tequilas in.
You were 6 tequilas in. I didn't even want to say the news to you. I just showed you my phone screen with the headline.
Yeah.
And you went, what? And were silent for at least a good 5 minutes.
I was in shock.
Yeah.
I was in shock.
Have you processed your feelings now? How do you feel?
I feel vindicated. Because there's hope, man. Like I'm so glad that the guy did everything that you could do to deal with the fallout of a predicament like this, right? So I'm sure our listeners would all probably know, but just to reiterate, about 10 odd years ago, James Gunn tweeted a whole bunch of really inappropriate, offensive, crass jokes.
They were jokes. They were clearly jokes.
They were clearly jokes. Yeah,
they were terrible, but they were jokes.
Right. And they're varying, subject matters of like child pornography and or things like that. Just
bunch of like pedophilia, necrophilia, whatever.
Very bad taste. However,
his stock in trade at the time was being like a provocateur.
Exactly. So he, in his apology tweets, ironically.
Do you realize he was married to Jenna Fisher around the same time?
Yeah.
What is this? What? Exactly. So strange.
Exactly. But yeah, in his apology tweets, he did say that, at the time, I did pride myself on being a sort of provocateur and using shock humor and whatnot. Though that was 10 years ago. And he
apologized unconditionally, pretty much.
Completely, yeah.
And then explained why he did what he did, and still said sorry.
And then went dark. He went completely dark. He actually got called out on this the week of, I want to say, STCC or some big con.
I think, yeah.
It might have been STCC.
Possibly.
And he was going to reveal, he had a Hall H or like one of the big hall panels booked out for a secret project that he was revealing, which he just never did.
Yeah.
So he literally put his entire life on hold. There were talks, which I believe are still happening, about him directing a Suicide Squad sequel.
Yes.
However, apart from that...
Is that on for sure? No.
I believe it's still on.
I think it is on.
I think he is going to do both, and I don't know in what capacity he's doing the Squad. He's fully back on with Marvel.
Yeah.
But the Squad thing is a bit up in the air, but I do know he is doing something with them. I don't know if he's directing and writing.
Yes.
Either way, but my point is, while this interim, 8 months or 9 months of him going underground had been going on, he literally was underground. He didn't say anything to anybody, didn't make any public posts on any platform whatsoever.
Yeah, it's not like he came back and went like, what's up, guys?
Right. Prior to that, he was always one of the most vocal left-wing advocates. He was very proactive with like live streaming and like talking to fans. The minute like the Guardians movies would come out, like a few days later, he'd go on Facebook Live and just be like, hey, let me tell you guys things. If you want to know, I'm happy to talk to you. So he was very open with his communication with his fans and his peers. And so it's very unlike him to be so quiet, right? And I think that's because he kind of played the game as best you can when you're in the situation. And what kind of gives me hope...
He was willing to go away, right?
Yes.
Unlike, say, Kevin Spacey, who decides to make a weirdo movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I guess what I'm getting at is what gives me hope is that he's one of the few people, I can't think of too many, he's one of the very few people that have been able to come out of a situation like this, which is obviously going to be much harder to deal with when you are at that level of fame. And, it's like when you're running for elections.
Yeah.
You do know that the minute you throw your name in the hat, people are like
They're gonna pick up on your
actively
past.
going to
Yes.
look for dirt on you. And everybody has dirt, and everybody that is in the public eye has that much more to lose.
Yeah.
And he was willing to say, all right, I'll lose everything, and I'll completely give up my celebrity to whatever extent you can give it up, and do my time. And, be a good boy and just keep my head down and just do my work. And so he did just that.
Yeah.
And they were willing to say, all right, we trust that you understand the severity of what you've done. We believe you when you say that you have been willing to make amends, because the important thing is it was 10 years ago. And the other important thing is he didn't actively hurt any individual.
Yes.
It's very different when you make a joke about something than
And
when you're
you're
actually
an
doing actual things.
Yes.
It's a completely different ballgame when you say something and when you do something.
Yeah.
And the saying things were, again, not to anybody in particular. They were just out in the ether making bad crass jokes. In fact, I'll go so far as to say that 5 minutes before you showed me that message, because we were 60 kilos in, there were jokes that we said which we would never say in front of this microphone. Because you're saying things in private, which you're
Right.
allowed to do. You make
he
make crass
tweeted
jokes.
them, and also I don't think I've made any such jokes.
No. We've said not necessarily about.
I called you my best friend. Is that what you mean?
Well, when you said it like that.
Yeah.
But we say things in private which you would never say in public, because you trust the company that you're in, and you trust that it's going to stay there. And the minute you say things publicly,
James Gunn shouldn't have trusted the company which he was in, which was Disney.
Yes, right? So I love the fact that they were willing to swallow their pride and say, like, okay, this guy doesn't need to be made a scapegoat of.
Yes.
And
I
they're willing to give him a
agree
second
with
chance.
you, Jigs, in the sense that I definitely think James Gunn, I wouldn't say did no wrong, but he was distinctly far from being a villain.
Yeah.
He made terrible jokes, which is very different from actually meaning harm
Yeah.
or meaning ill intent in any way.
Yeah.
He did them on Twitter. It was ill-advised. It was stupid. But it was 10 years ago at a different time in his life. And when it was called out multiple times over the past couple of years, he has apologized. It's not like those were new information.
Yeah.
The same tweets literally came up some time ago, and he said, I'm sorry, and everyone said, happy to move on. The reason they cost him his job the last time they came up is because they were brought up by this pretty vocal
Right-wing guy with an agenda.
with an agenda.
Yeah.
And Disney was basically scared of the backlash, so they said, whatever, this guy's out.
It's political backfooting.
Yes. So while I agree with you on the James Gunn front, I would bring in the nuance that I don't think Disney is necessarily bringing him back because they were like, all right, our boy's done well, he's learned his lesson,
Okay.
let's bring him back. I suspect that they said, we don't want anybody to say anything about us. We're Disney. We've got to play nice with everyone, whether they're hardline right-wingers or hardline left-wingers or whatever. We don't, we just want everybody's money. We're not going to draw the distinction between who's right and who's wrong. And when they found that, the backlash died out pretty quickly, and that firing him didn't gain them many, pretty points, with people going wow, I can't believe Disney stood up for the right thing. If anything, it invited a larger backlash.
Yeah.
And then
The cast.
Warner Bros.
The
cast, of course. The cast was pretty vocal about hating the decision. So pretty much the Disney's core fans hated the decision. Right-wingers, it's not like they went wow, you were absolutely right and now we love you, Disney. They were they're still assholes.
Yeah.
Because they had an agenda. The agenda was fulfilled, but that doesn't stop hate or anger.
Yes.
Hate or anger continues. It just finds a new target. And when Warner Brothers obviously saw an opportunity and went hey, we've got Suicide Squad, which was us trying to do Guardians pretty much. Let's get the Guardians guy.
Yeah.
And there was surprisingly no, even the right-wingers at this point were bored of that story. They were let's move on and attack someone else.
Right.
Disney was wait, do you guys not care about this? Does that mean we can have him back as well?
Yeah.
And they went in and brought him back. So it is, I think, while maybe not a completely cynical move, I think it's, in large part, it's got
I
some
see your
cynical
point.
factors at play.
It's a very valid point. Yes.
Disney just went what? You guys can have him? Well, then we want him
Yeah,
back too.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
that it was my
it's
ball.
like nobody's hiring Kevin Spacey, but if somebody, and that somebody being our biggest competition is hiring this guy, why would we give him up in the first place? All right,
Exactly.
let's if he's still a viable candidate, then let's keep him because we know he
This
likes
is
to
the
be with us.
situation
Let's keep him.
with
Yeah.
everybody in Hollywood, man. The fact is, Kevin Spacey has, it turned out when these allegations came out, he's been known to be a complete asshole at the least and a pretty much a predator at the worst in Hollywood circles for a long time. The same with Weinstein. And yet they weren't fired from things or boycotted until the news came out in public, right? Same situation. As soon as like the news was out in public, everyone was like, oh, we want nothing to do with James Gunn, or we want nothing to do with Harvey Weinstein. But as soon as
they're like, oh, he's not that dirty. Okay, cool.
Yeah, if the public has a short memory and is willing to forget, then Hollywood is like, oh, thank God, we can go back to our guy.
Yep.
Like, I mean, that's the case with R. Kelly, dude. He's been.
Jesus.
It has been irrefutably shown repeatedly that the dude is a pretty sick pedophiliac type. Like, literally, journalists have proven beyond doubt that this was the case, and he's paid like hush money. And of course, Michael Jackson, child molester, all these guys were completely willing to let it go, and the record companies and the media machines around them are obviously completely willing to let it go, because they're saying, well, if you guys don't care, we don't care, because we're looking for the money. This ties into my larger agenda, which I stand for so strongly, to not humanize corporations. Do not do it. Let's not go like, oh, Disney just like made best friends with James Gunn again. They had a slight misunderstanding. Nope. Disney's a money grabbing machine. They found a way to grab money more efficiently.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Do you have any good news for me?
The Toy Story 4 trailer came out.
Did you see it?
I did.
I've never seen a Toy Story trailer because I realized that up until Toy Story 4, trailers were never as in your face, I think.
What do you mean?
Like, when did Toy Story 3 come out?
Couple of years back, I want to say. Like 2015, 16?
No.
Longer than that?
Well before that.
Really?
15, 16, are you insane? It's like...
Oh, actually, no, you're absolutely right. Toy Story 3, I feel like, was at least 2012 or 12,
11, something like that. Yeah.
It couldn't have been in the past 4 or 5 years.
Definitely. So, the Toy Story movies came out well before YouTube trailers were
Yeah, I mean, trailers were a thing, but YouTube trailers
that's
weren't
what I mean. That's when I say trailers, I mean YouTube trailers were not a thing. And I love Toy Story. Toy Story 3 far and away is in my top 10 of all time. And to that end, I'm like, no. Don't. Yeah, I don't need to be convinced by this. All I know is Bo Peep is back. I was like, oh, cool. I like, it's not like I need a reason to love Toy Story.
Yeah.
So like,
I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I suppose I'm like, just the idea of Toy Story coming back again, which like Toy Story 2 felt like the end. Toy Story 3 felt like the end. Toy Story 4, I'm like, it's like,
that's the thing.
They can always keep coming back. Yeah.
Forever.
How do they manage to keep outdoing themselves? Like Toy Story 3, who would have thought Toy Story 3 would have been good? Leave alone possibly the best of the 3.
It's Hanky Panky.
It's Tom's Hanky Panky.
It's Hanky Panky and Alan.
Tim Allen Wallen, and I got nothing for Tim Allen. But yeah.
Tim Allen has 2 first names.
That's true. Tom Hanks
has 1 first name.
Yes, Tom.
Yep.
Is it Thomas or is it Timothy Hanks? Do you think he's a Timothy Hanks?
Calm down. It's Mr. Timothy Hanks.
What do you think of Tom Hanks' progeny?
Huh?
Colin.
He's fun.
I love Colin, and you've seen the rapper whose name Chet Hayes, he calls himself.
No.
You do know that Tom Hanks has a second son who's a white boy rapper. Oh my god, Jigs, I'm going to show you some Chet Hayes. I would encourage our listeners also to go and seek themselves out some Chet Hayes.
I wish you guys could see my eyes right now.
Yeah, you're pretty...
I'm a little...
It's the opposite of the look you had when you found out James Gunn was hired. Anyway, this has been the Geek Fruit Bulletin. Do check out our full episode this week where we're talking love, death and robots, but not in the usual way. This time we're literally talking about the show Love, Death and Robots. You can also talk to us on all the socials at GeekFruitHQ and email us on contactgeekfruit@gmail.com. Bye-bye, you nerds.
Hello everybody, we have a brand new daily podcast we're working on with Bloomberg Quint. All you need to know provides the top news on business, markets, and the economy so that you can stay ahead of the curve. Tune in every morning on BloombergQuint.com, the IVM podcast app, or wherever you get your podcast from.
Do you wish you were smarter? Well, so do we. But the next best thing?
We could make you sound smarter.
And to help you with this endeavor, we are Simplified, a podcast that attempts to break down the complex world around you with a little knowledge, a lot of poor jokes, and a ton of random trivia.
Episodes out every Monday.
On the IVM podcast app or wherever you get your podcasts.
See ya!